Hey, hola. What's going on? ¿Cómo estás? That's great. It's great to have you be a part of the community and to know that you're so diverse in your experiences, because there's just a wide range of people in our community. And so that's great to hear. Great to hear. So how did you end up getting connected with the Stellar Development Foundation?
Yeah, that's an interesting story, actually. I guess, like, going back to the previous question, like, kind of through my travels, kind of experienced, like, also firsthand how difficult it was to send money home or even, like, to other countries without paying large fees, delays, or even honestly, the doubt that it will even arrive, right? Um,
Right,
yeah.
right, right.
Before this, I used to live in the Netherlands, I mentioned earlier, and honestly, I never really thought about it before. Like, I had everything I needed there, and everything worked as it should. Once I really ventured outside, I noticed that like monetary systems work differently everywhere, and also they don't interoperate well. This has also got serious consequences for locals, people wanting to send money home or across borders. So when I learned about the mission really of SDF, which is everyone must know, to create equitable access to the global financial system,
Wait,
like
say that one more time. Say that one more time.
equitable access to the global financial system, that's SDF's mission. I was like
That's
really
right.
attracted to this, as I could imagine like how much impact it could actually have, as financial systems are the base of societies, and I really believe equitable access to financial system leads to more equal opportunities for development at large. So yeah, that's kind of like how I got into it. Yeah.
No, that's great. That's great. That's great. It is important. It's fantastic, and we're definitely glad to have you here to help with the journey. What is your official title at the SDF?
My official title is Community and Events Manager. Just don't want to
Okay.
give it. Yeah. There's nothing. That's me. My role at SDF is to plan and coordinate events and engage, support, and grow the thriving community of stellar developers and enthusiasts. So that can include a lot. So I can talk
Yeah.
a bit about that later as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I think that's great. That's great. So I know that the SDF is a nice widespread organization. Within that organization, who do you like? I guess work directly with, because I got to meet a lot of cool people there.
Yeah, I'm on the ecosystem team, so directly report to Justin, with whom you, I think, spoke with quite a few times.
Yeah, shout out to Justin. Shout out to Justin for sure, for sure. Yay. So how big is the ecosystem team? It's growing every day. I see. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, not every day, of course, but it's definitely have grown a lot. We've gotten like quite a few people now on the like more on the enterprise ecosystem team, and on the developer
Awesome.
like ecosystem team. Recently, Sandra joined, like who you maybe will also talk with. We have
Okay.
Tyler on board.
Nice one.
There's me, and then on more of our enterprise team, we have Lisa. I think you spoke with a few times.
Yes.
Uh, Jen, Matthew, and Priscilla. And I think like I hope like I didn't skip anyone because like there were some new people. Okay.
No, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. I know that you've been involved in a lot of great things. I've heard your name spoken by so many people that spoke so highly of the work that you've been doing.
Oh, really?
Um, Absolutely, absolutely. So why don't you kind of let everybody know what some of your focuses are here at the SDF?
Yeah, like because like as I mentioned, like beginning of last year, I helped more to organize events like Meridian. But since the beginning of this year, actually, I shifted focus to more of the university relationships, including hackathons. I've also been working on some startup boot camps and the Stellar Community Fund, which have all been really exciting. So those are
Yeah,
quite a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
fields
yeah.
that I've been working on. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Well, why don't we go ahead and talk about the Stellar Community Fund? Because I remember, talking to Tyler like several weeks ago, and I was trying to ask him some questions. He goes, "Oh, you've got to talk to Anke because she has been all over it, been doing a great, phenomenal job, really taking it to the next level." So let's start off with that. How did you end up getting involved, focusing on the SCF?
Yeah, well, that's really nice of Tyler to say. Thank you. I was not aware. But yeah, so like the Stellar Community Fund is managed by the ecosystem team. Last year, I
Okay.
played more of a supportive role, but this year I'm actually a bit more involved in both design and execution. Of course, this is all based on like feedback we got from the community, kind of to translate and iterate into a proposal. And it's constantly changing. So I feel like it's
Yeah.
very challenging, but definitely very rewarding into seeing all of the projects that people have like are building right now.
I mean, and what's great is that it's great to even through the SCF to just see all the feedback and the growth. I love the fact that with each round, everyone kind of steps back and figures out how to continuously improve it. So kudos to you absolutely on that. For those that are listening, yeah, for those that are listening though, can you maybe describe what the SCF is? Exactly.
Yeah, sure. So the SCF gives people from all over the world a chance to kickstart their stellar-based projects and connect to the thriving stellar community. For the SCF, we have several rounds each year where 12 million lumens are awarded to promising projects all over the world based on input from the stellar community. So we have
Okay.
different, like we have a like submission phase, then we have a selection phase where projects are being selected. Then we have a community discussion phase where the Stellar community at large can give feedback on like what they think of the projects, also ask questions so that they can improve themselves and really like get their project in front of like potential users. And then there's a voting component where the community decides like who gets awards.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So that's great. I mean, can you share maybe what are some of the recent, I guess, successes that maybe some of the listeners might recognize that got their start or advance going through the SCF?
Yeah, there are many actually. We've seen a lot in previous round, also except a lot in the very recent round. Ones you may know are Lobster, Lightning, CoinQuest, Leaf Global, and many others, which you can find on the SCF
Wow.
website. Yeah, so
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
there's
I recognize all those names. Yeah. All those
oh,
names for
good.
sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that's great. That's great that there's that interaction. Because a lot there's especially when you have starting off and you have these ideas and you're trying to build, it's really hard to get some sort of funding for it. And so it's great to have this sort of outlet. Honestly, I think that's one of the best parts about it. Now, as you were describing, I remember, that if I'm not mistaken, that the SCF had like two different levels. You had, I guess, like a lab fund and a seed round. Is that still the case, or has it changed?
yeah, good question. I think last year, so we there was a seed and a lab fund, one for first mover businesses and utilities, and the
Okay.
other was more for experimental use cases. Last round and all rounds going forward, we really want to capture experiences and feedback of submitters, voters, and really anyone else involved in the SCF to create this funding mechanism that works well for the community. So to kind of to like go on to that, when the last round or the seed fund wrapped, we collected feedback from the community. and iterated a proposal on what has become our current structure, but doesn't
Okay.
specify that level. But instead, submitters can request the budget they need to take their projects to the next level, whether it's launching their business on Stellar or getting new users for their products, for the new product. It can really be anything as long as they build it on Stellar.
I like that actually. So someone submitting it can actually come in there and put out their proposal of how much they need, and I'm assuming through that process they got to give a detail, a detail like I guess budget or something of that nature to really kind of detail why they need that money and et cetera, et cetera. Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, I like that. I like that change. I do.
Yeah, it's something like we like again like it's like from the previous rounds we collected feedback and like really like encouraging anyone to participate kind of in the discussion on how the SCF looks like. It's more like for the community, by the community, right? So
Mm-hmm.
of course, like if anyone has any more feedback about the current structure, like it's always welcome, and
Uh huh.
we continue to iterate in the next few rounds.
No, that's nice. That's nice. You recently, I remember you did a blog not too long ago, giving some tips on, what somebody can do to improve their chances if they're thinking about, going into it. Because I know every single round, there's always people complaining about, not getting the attention. And I think, at least from my experience, I think that where they lack is the engagement side, right? You really have to engage with the community. And so, what are some of the tips that you put out in your blog to help people, I guess, be a little more educated and how to get the right foot forward?
Yeah, well, read the blog post first of all. Like, there's already pretty abbreviated in like kind of a few tips. But I actually published one yesterday as well, describing the selection and budget guidelines, which I posted in the SCF Discord. So do check these out.
Okay,
But
definitely.
yeah, specifically, there are a few things in the blog post, the one you mentioned, that I'd highlight for those listening. First of all, pretty obvious, but apply early. This round, people can apply first to kind of receive their submission form. And applying only takes a minute. We just want to collect some information and to see if you want a more simplified or a more extensive version of the, like depending on like with the scope of your project.
Okay.
You'll then be sent the actual submission form, which is a Google spreadsheet by default for you and your team members to edit. But also, like as you need to make a video, need to fill out the submission form, we definitely encourage to apply early to take a look and kind of see what's possible to fill out. That's one. Second,
Okay.
I would say, speaking of videos, the visual assets in submissions can make all the difference. I'd personally really spend some time making a visual appealing thumbnail, a clear demo video, and add any other images that explain your project. It might not like it's a kind of like a whole entire thing like a submission. So you have like your video, your thumbnail, your images, and together they can kind of make an impression to a potential, well, to the audience, but also like you can act as they are potential investors, right? You have to
Mm-hmm.
convince them to vote for you. So yeah, so that's really important in addition to having good quality content. And third, lastly, like I think I would mention that budget is an important feature of this round. Make sure your budget is reasonable for what you're trying to achieve. Look at previous projects. Don't request anything that is just doesn't make sense with what you're trying to ask. I actually did post some more guidelines around this in the blog post that I published yesterday. So definitely take a look at that.
Absolutely. Well, I'll have to make sure I reshare that. I'll make sure to reshare that because that's a lot of really good information. And you're right. I mean, a lot of times presentation is 60% of the battle. You know what I mean? You got to capture that attention. So, very, very good points. So just wrapping up a couple of things on SCF. Briefly, just revisit what's the process for joining the SCF. So, walk us through that real briefly on that.
Yeah, so there's a few different ways to kind of get involved. One
Okay.
is, I would say, like obvious one is to submit a project. To submit a project, they should apply on communityfund.stellar.org/current. and fill out, and then they will be sent a submission form which they can fill out before 11:59 p.m. PST on August 22nd. And don't worry writing all of these dates down; they're all on the website.
Okay,
Uh,
good.
Aside from submitting a project, we invite anyone to participate in the community discussion phase, which is from the 30th of August to September 12th. And in this phase, like anyone, like you can provide selected projects with valuable feedback they need to improve their submissions or ask any questions that you have before the voting phase. So yeah, really encourage everyone to participate in that. And find, like, I guess also you can apply to become a qualified community member in the SCF Discord. Basically, which is to prove your presence in the Stellar community and ecosystem, so you can vote for the projects that have been selected between September 13th and the 26th. Lastly, for
Wow.
future rounds, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can participate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really, like anytime you can, if you're a developer or if you're an entrepreneur, if you're just like interested in Stellar, you can participate. Lastly, also for future rounds of the SCF, we will gather feedback and optimize the process to try to meet your needs. So we encourage anyone to participate in that discussion as well. And it's
Nah,
all
that's
in
great.
Discord. So yeah, the new Discord channels can really help with that.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I really encourage everybody to get involved. There's a lot of people out there that are, very passionate about the direction of where Stellar's going. And so this is a great opportunity. If you're not involved, if you're quiet, then you might see a project that you feel is not utilizing Stellar to its best abilities win. And so, this is an opportunity to get involved and discuss and help to see projects grow. One thing I'll add to that too, I feel, is that people that are out there, if you're thinking about building or submitting a project, make sure you do some market research as well. Make sure that you've been following what the developments and the growth that Stellar has been doing. Communicate to those out there on Twitter and on Reddit, in places like Stellar Global. Get an idea of what people really want to see. And maybe your idea, has already been thought of, and it's not that clever as you think it is. So I definitely say do your market research and get involved. So thank you so much. August 22nd, is that the date again? The last day?
Yeah, so like submissions are like you have to fill out your submissions before 11:59 p.m. PST on August 22nd. So we still
All
have
right.
a little bit of time, but it always
It's
comes
start
sooner.
early.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on the market research point. It's often like we see like some projects were not that unique. They're very similar to other projects and don't really focus on a specific audience. So yeah, just like adding on to what you said, definitely recommend checking out what's already been built. And but more so to really focus on solving a unique problem that's either in your local district or focusing on a specific audience, etc. This way, like audience can see you've actually thought about a lot more things, and your project will more likely be able to succeed and grow after the SEF, which is the goal.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. So another thing that you've been involved with, I've seen your face around, is the hackathons. Um, and so let's discuss your work there. I guess let's start off and help people understand, why are hackathons so important to begin with?
Yeah, definitely. I think hackathons are really important, especially they're an easy entry into getting experience with a new technology, especially something like blockchain, which can pose like even a higher barrier to entry since it's something often people have not worked with before.
Right.
And kind of experiment building something that doesn't need to be fully developed, but can just be in a kind of concept or an idea or something someone wants to explore without it taking too much time and money. Not to mention, they're also pretty fun. Like I've been to one, I guess it was just before COVID in my first week. It was really fun. It was at Hack NYU, and yeah, there's just like a bunch of people like with their computers, this building in super interesting solutions. So really looking forward to in-person hackathons again, but definitely we've
Right.
also been sponsoring a lot of online hackathons in the meantime.
No, that's great. That's great. And I think those online ones offer another dimension. Do you guys have a particular target market that you focus on when we're looking to host these?
Yeah, so recently we've actually been working on some initiatives with universities and educational organizations. So for most hackathons, there's a focus on students,
Mm-hmm.
like with the goal of really fostering knowledge of blockchain and Stellar for business leaders and developers of tomorrow. But most of the online hackathons we've sponsored are also like just open for anyone who's really interested in building on Stellar. So not a specific target market, but we're
Mm-hmm.
definitely exploring in to seeing what would be best. And yeah.
Nice. Okay. And I saw that there was one really cool example you guys are, I think, going on right now with the minority programmers who I had on the show not too long ago. If someone wanted to partner with the SDF on a hackathon, let's say it's a university or organization, how do they get involved? How can they make that happen?
Just let me know. Honestly, like we're
All
always
right.
open for new suggestions. Like anything, like definitely we'll be able like to take a look at. So just email me with all the details at anke@stellar.org, and we will get back to them.
Nah, okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, just to wrap up here, I know you're dealing with a community and it's got to have been some really unique challenges especially with COVID. When you first got here, I think the COVID shutdown happened shortly after that. How was that impacted negatively, I guess, the hurdles that it's brought, as far as for your job, but then, I'm sure there's also positive sides. So if you could I'll be curious to hear your experiences in this new COVID, normalcy that we're in right now.
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting you mentioned that because like I joined SDF kind of to support like organizing and coordinating production for in-person events in early March
Mm,
last year. Like actually just a few days before like COVID had hit like the US. So on the
wow.
first day of being prepared for all the events that were happening, they said, "Anke, you're gonna keep the get to the ground running. Like you're gonna do all these events. Like I even prepared to fly to Austin for South by Southwest. But then in the
Yeah.
next few days, like we're literally like the third day or something, like hey, all the events you worked on are now being canceled. And yeah, we
Wow.
didn't know what happened. Like we thought, oh, likely they'll be delayed. So like we still worked on a few, but yeah, eventually we gave up on that and kind of like got really like realized the COVID situation. So it was kind of crazy because I kind of was hired for that job, and now I needed to reimagine my role a little bit. So now I started obviously like what everyone else did in events, exploring more virtual events, and also I transferred to the ecosystem team because I was not previously on the ecosystem team. So I transferred in my first 2 weeks, and so
Mm-hmm.
then I also taken on the role of growing and engaging the Stellar community through these events.
Cool, 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 cool. Well, I mean, you've done a great job. Why don't you give us maybe a preview of what's next on the horizon? We're going to the third quarter, or right into the third quarter right now. What can we expect?
Yeah, I'm still quite occupied with the SCF. Like SCF is like it's happening, like the community discussion phase, panel selection, the voting phase. But I'm also working on organizing or like coordinating organization of boot camps and similar events for startups. One of them being the blockchain bootcamp that the FS Lab is or hosting at the end of September for
Okay,
African
nice.
projects. Yeah, so I think you
Yeah.
already got the chance to speak with Steven
Yes.
from the FS
Great.
Lab.
Yeah, great team, great team, great team. And I saw the panel that you guys put together. So that's awesome. I love to see that partnership out there in Africa. Look forward to seeing more of those. That's great.
Yeah, I'm very personally also very interested in these geo-focused events. Just like to see like how they can kind of impact in opposite of like just a wide audience to see if that makes any difference or if people feel more included that way. So likely, hopefully, there will be more of these coming in the near future. So stay tuned.
Good, good, good. And Meridian has already been announced for later this year, so I'm sure as that starts to trickle closer, we'll get some more details on that.
Yeah, yeah, certainly. All right, it was
That's
great
it's great.
speaking to you, Sam.
It was very great. Thank you, honestly, for stopping by, and we look forward to learning of more details as things arrive. look forward to seeing you. Real quick, how can people find you once again if they want to, try to coordinate, with a hackathon or try to schedule an event with you? What's the best way to reach you?
Yeah, certainly. So for any inquiries, really like on email works really well. So my email is anke@stellar.org. Pretty easy. But also like for anything that's more related to SDF or like personal questions, like I'm also on Discord. I think I'm in both channels, Stellar Global and the SDF Discord. So feel free to just
Awesome.
message me directly. I believe my username is just Anke, so it should be pretty
It
easy
is.
to
Yeah,
spot.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. That's right. You heard it. You can catch her out on the SCF Discord and Stellar Global Discord. Anka, it was a pleasure to have you here on the show today. Hopefully, we could do a lot more of these. And everybody that's listening, get involved with the SCF. That's right there on the table right now for everyone to get involved. So you hang on, Anka. Everybody else, I've got some new shows coming up this month. Stay tuned to figure out what's going on. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.